Now let's talk about those other white domestic terrorists who stormed the Capitol on January 6th because they were angry that black folks voted in significant numbers in the 2020 election. The January 6th committee today, folks, released this video showing a Republican who was, of course, giving people a tour. But this was not a regular tour. He was taking them in places where people normally do not go. And essentially what the committee is suggesting is that this was a scoping mission. This was a news information gathering mission. And you see how they were taking photos. Wait until you watch this video. Now you understand how there are insiders, sitting members of Congress who were in cahoots with these white domestic terrorists. They are still in power. Watch this.
It has begun here at the Washington Monument, Washington, D.C. Say hello to Facebook.
Hey, what's going on, man? Glad to be here, bro.
This is our fearless leader.
Hey, baby. Check out my flag I made, guys. See it? There you go, baby. That's for a certain person.
That's right. That's for somebody special. Somebody special. All right, we are basically at the Capitol. We're probably close to 2 million true American patriots. They are swarming and converging, mainly from Constitution Avenue, but from all routes in. There's no escape, Pelosi, Schumer, Nadler, we're coming for you. We're coming in like white on rice for Pelosi, Nadler, Schumer, even you, AOC. We're coming to take you out. We'll pull you out by your hairs. How about that, Pelosi? Might as well make yourself another appointment. I'll get done with you. You're gonna need a sign up on top of that bald head.
You said 10? You see that, Ben, and you see what transpired there. You see the actions of this member of Congress. Again, folks have been talking about this in a significant way about Congressman Loudermilk. Now, here's what's interesting. He previously said in numerous times that he did not give any tours to anybody. Well, the video sort of contradicts what he had to say. And so today, he finally admitted that, well, he did give some tours after previously saying that he did not. You had on that particular day, Congressman Boebert, who was tweeting the positions of the Speaker of the House. That's right. But they were trying to move out for her safety. I keep telling people, if you allow Republicans to win control of the House in November, you are letting these white domestic terrorists stay in power and be in the majority.
That's right. Roland, there's really no way to mince words here. There is a mass conspiracy being led by the Republican Party to take over this government, and we see it happening every day in these hearings. We're seeing the truth. Now, I wish we would have seen some of this footage a long time ago, particularly this footage. We should have seen this as soon as we could have. I felt like it came out a little too late, but we have it now, and we see all of these Congress people who are complicit with the coup. I think they need to be put out of power. They need to be held accountable. If there are charges that can be charged, they need to be charged with it. Because let's be real, had this been a left-leaning or anything that was remotely progressive, and definitely anything black, they would have had us all in jail by now.
Look, I can guarantee you right now, Ben, that if there was, if you had Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley, if you had Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, if you had any of them giving tours to members of Black Lives Matter, if you had them giving tours to Tamika Mallory, Linda Sarsour, I can guarantee you there would be a totally different response if Republicans were in control and that actually happened.
Absolutely. And it goes the same thing. If we had showed up on the steps of the Capitol with anything but a sandwich, they would have laid waste to us right there. And we're seeing this.
And the sandwich could not even be in aluminum foil.
Right. Exactly, right? So we see the disparity of what white mediocrity, I refuse to call it white supremacy, what white mediocrity can get away with. They are the barbarians at their own gate. The very thing that destroyed the Roman Empire is not only on the outside of the Capitol, but it's also on the inside of the Capitol with some complicit Congresspeople.
Robert, again, when you see the video and then when you see what we keep hearing, when you see them calling out more members. Now you have Republicans who are claiming, oh, no, I wasn't trying to seek a pardon from Donald Trump. Now you're lying. Again, they are being exposed for who they are. But I keep telling our people, don't play games with this come November. You had last night in Texas a QAnon posting woman win a special election, a Mexican-American Republican wins a seat. This person is posting QAnon crap on her social media. Really? These are the kind of people who could be in power in January.
Well, taking the analogy to the fall of the Roman Empire a step further, remember the reason that Alaric had such an easy time storming Rome was because they had barbarians on the inside. For centuries beforehand, they started bringing in Goths and Visigoths and Gauls into into both the Senate and into the Roman military. So they opened the gate for them to come in. It wasn't an overthrow. It was simply them being invited in. We saw the exact same thing at the Capitol when the gates were opened by the Capitol Police and by the law enforcement there. We're seeing the exact same thing currently with Republicans saying, well, why didn't you put Jim Jordan or Marjorie Taylor Greene on the January 6th commission? This is why, because they're suspects in this. You're not going to put these suspects on the jury for the crime. And I think that the fact that the January 6th committee had said they're not going to make criminal recommendations, I think that is a mistake. I think we need to be finding out not just about Donald Trump. Donald Trump is a symptom. You have to get the actual the actual virus out of the system. You have to get the sickness out. Donald Trump is just a symptom of what these people are doing. They've now surpassed Trump and their vitriol towards America. He was simply the iconoclastic figure around all this. But if you look at the Lone Berbers, the Matt Gaetzes of the world, the Josh Hawleys in the Senate, the Ted Cruzes out there, these people can pose an existential threat to the future of this union going forward. We saw similar things before the Civil War when you had Confederate sympathizers in the not just in the Senate, in the House, but also in the White House as the Vice President Andrew Johnson. So we have to make sure we are rooting these people out and not simply treating them as the coach of the Washington Commanders said, a little dust up. This was an attempt to overthrow the Constitution, overthrow the government. They're going to come back. We have to be ready next time.
Yeah, no question about that.
Scott, today, Scott, I got this. Hold on. Today, you had the crazy Republicans. It's really the whole party, but the truly crazy Republicans hold a news conference where they were whining and complaining about how Republicans were being treated and how grossly unfair this is.
Well, we went through justice for George Floyd, justice for him, but we don't see any justice for these people that went into the Capitol. None. Do you want to know how they're treated? I'll tell you what I saw. I saw men in that DC jail that hadn't had a haircut, couldn't shave. They were filthy, dirty, and disgusting. They looked extremely unhealthy because, you know what? They can choose between going outside for maybe an hour a day or calling their family.
American citizens are being held for offenses related to January 6th, and some of these individuals have not been convicted of anything. They are being held pre-trial with no bail being offered, and the DOJ, listen to me, the DOJ continues to treat these individuals like one would expect of a convicted terrorist. Folks, this is not North Korea. This is not Guantanamo Bay. This is happening 2 miles from where we are standing. It is happening in that jail, one of the most foul and unsanitary detention centers in the country.
Welcome to Black America. Welcome to Black America. And then the question is, you should ask him if he had a chance to exchange his life and be black, would he choose to be black versus white? It is what Black America and young black men and women experience every day. Shame on the system for housing sedationists and housing people who attack the Capitol and tried to overthrow the government and bar democracy from moving forward and the transfer of political power. Are you crazy? You should be held. You shouldn't get any time. But Roland, let me say this to you. That's batshit crazy stuff right there. I don't know why the press even covers it. But if you have racial hatred in this country and you fear 2043, you have a place to go. There are tens of thousands of groups where you can go and be supported, nurtured, and even be armed by those groups. That's what's scary. You know what else is scary, Roland? You know I love breaking down these videos when I'm on here with you. The video didn't have any sound to it, but you could tell what was going on, right? They were not only scouting, but the pictures they were taking were of security, stairways. They were taking pictures of stairways and hallways so that they could remember and study them because the attack was going to happen the next day. Mm-hmm. And look at the congressman. That's a security stand right there. Right there in the Capitol is a security stand, and they're taking pictures of it. There's another group, they just back up so he can take pictures of another hallway and another set of stairs. Look at the congressman. He's pointing out that's a security station right there. And while he's doing that, they're taking pictures elsewhere. Now he's bringing him down through another security hallway. Look at that. He's bringing him down by there. Now, if I go to the Capitol and I give a tour to my constituents, right, I'm looking at all the monuments and the great halls and so forth and so on. I'm not in any security hallways. I'm not letting people take. Why would you take pictures in the Capitol other than of bust or pictures or with the congressman or other congresspersons? Why would I walk off to the side and take a picture of a hallway while the congressman's there either being distracted or otherwise? And lastly, whether the congressman was duped or not, he allowed himself to be duped. Because at some point, he's got to know they're taking pictures of all these things that would essentially be non-essential pictures, but they're essential if you're going to come back and attack the Capitol. You couple that with the video that you ran before outside the Capitol and all the things that they said. Why shouldn't we believe that they were going to drag AOC out or Pelosi out or Schumer out? I mean, it's a story that's got a lot of facts to support it. This is, excuse me, this is dangerous. This is very, very dangerous.
To the point that what Marjorie Taylor Greene was making, it's interesting that these are the exact same people who oppose any form of criminal justice reform. They oppose bail reform. They oppose sentencing reform. They oppose breaking down the criminal industrial complex. They oppose humane conditions in U.S. jails. They oppose closing Guantanamo Bay. But the minute that is their people locked up, The minute that is their MAGA insurrectionists who actually have to deal with the same conditions that black and brown people have been dealing with for the last 400 years in this country, all of a sudden they are outraged. Oh my God, they can't shave. They aren't being well fed. Look, if you spent the night in the Fulton County Jail at any point in time in your life, you know that is a mild night there comparatively to what they're talking about. So I think that this might be the place where you pull these people together and say, look, I will agree with you on the conditions of the jail. Let's put together a criminal justice reform bill so that we change that for everybody, not just for your white insurrectionists who are now experiencing the same system that everybody else is experiencing right now.
How awful they treat them white boys in there.
I'm sitting. Scott, hold on. Scott, hold on. Scott, hold on. Damn.
Hey, man, I'm geeked today. I'm pumped up today.
Oh, my God. Ben, hey. I done told you 3 times now. What kills me, Ben, I'm sitting there, oh, my God, the conditions are horrible. They can't shave. They can't get a haircut. They're only outside 1 hour a day. They're in jail. They're in federal detention.
Yeah.
That's what jail is. I mean, you don't get to walk around like you're on the outside. You committed heinous acts.
Right.
That's what it is. So to Robert's point, Kristen Clark and her civil rights division, they've been going after, indicting, prosecuting, and jailing corrections officers for the treatment of prisoners. I would love to see these Republicans stand with them when it comes to that, but no, they're whining about their little insurrectionists.
Yeah. As it pertains to the conditions of all these insurrectionists, my question is, did they die? Because Khalif Browder died, right? Because of all the boys who died over a backpack.
Allegedly stealing a backpack.
Right. Not an insurrection, not a treason. It's funny what they consider treason. Pastor Mark Burns is trying to categorize being a gay or lesbian as treason, but actual treason took place on January 6th. And if they are interested in carrying out the actual punishment for treason, Mark Burns is recommending death. That is the type of punishment that is associated with treason. Now, if they're worried about the living conditions in the jailhouse, we will stand with them. But I have a feeling that Marjorie Neanderthal Green will not be standing with us to fight against the criminality of this prison industrial complex, because she really, and I'm sorry, they are getting a little too cavalier with the names of our martyrs. Just to hear her say George Floyd, when I know without a shadow of a doubt that there's something giddy in her, gets happy when she could throw that in our faces, the barbarian is really showing.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Unfiltered video in just one moment.
Welcome you to the launch of the Mass Poor People's Low Wage Assembly and Moral March on Washington, D.C., June 18, 2022.
We are a new, unsettling force, and we are powerful. New, unsettling force, and we are here.
We're rising up to demonstrate the compelling power that we, poor and low-income people, have to reconstruct society from the bottom up.
And we need to do it with the loudest voices possible, the biggest actions possible.
Because we know that there is no scarcity in this land. The only scarcity is the moral will to do what's right.
Hold on, just a little while longer.
We are those with sub-minimum wage jobs who can't afford sky-high rent.
People with disabilities are the fastest growing minority group.
It's crazy to me that in 2021, it's still legal for workplaces to pay a sub-minimum wage to people with disabilities.
There are still so much trial and tribulations that we go through as Indigenous people. We can't get a decent wage to sustain ourselves, nor can we get adequate housing.
Veterans across this nation say enough is enough. We can't pat essential workers on the back on one day and then cut their health care the next day.
Health is a political choice.
What more do I need to do to prove that my voice is just as valuable as anyone else's?
There are still forces in denial that would try to slow walk our transition to a clean economy and a just future for us all.
We have an immoral system run by immoral people.
But together we walk
and we walk and we fight.
It's time for a change. Reconstruyamos esta gran nación.
See, we are people of resilience. As we fight these interlocking injustices together,
when we work together, mobilize together, and rise together, we become a voice for the voiceless, and we become an agent of change in a time where great change is needed.
We need the third Reconstruction to ensure that deaf people, people with disabilities, and all people can have the right to live and to thrive.
We know what they are doing, but the question is, what are we going to do? Reconstruction begins when we change our mentality and say it's time for you to get your foot off of my neck.